From San Jose City College, CreaTV Sports kicks off Friday Night Lights with the West Catholic Athletic League Showdown. Longtime rivals, the Monarchs of Archbishop Mitty and the Bells of Bellarmine College Preparatory face off at Jaguar Field. Good evening, I'm Kirsten Fairchilds with David Kiefer. Mitty won its first three but dropped its league opener last week to Reardon. The Monarchs will need a big game from their defense led by inside linebacker Matthew Tofano.
And in many ways, this is a pivotal game for Mitty. Big loss last week, but they can turn around against Bellarmine. It's really a team that's in search of an identity, and they may find it tonight.
Bellarmine has had some big wins already this season. Its biggest player, tackle Wolfie Raybach. He anchors both the O-line and the D-line.
He's 6'4", 250 pounds. He's going to play at the Air Force Academy. This guy may dominate on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Every year, every game is a challenge in the WCAL. Find out which team will earn another W tonight. Monarchs, Bells, next on CreaTV Sports.
CreaTV San Jose would like to thank the San Jose Flea Market on Berryessa Road for their generous sponsorship of our coverage of high school sports. It's because of our sponsors that CreaTV is able to cover high school sports throughout the city of San Jose.
Jaguar Field on the campus of San Jose City College. It's West Catholic Athletic League High School football on CreaTV Sports. The Mitty Monarchs wearing the white jerseys, gold helmets, gold pants, meeting midfield with the Bellarmine Bells in their home blue uniforms and white numbers. Kirsten Fairchild alongside David Kiefer. Kenny Jackson, our referee. Mitty wins the toss, asks for the ball right away. So Bellarmine will be kicking off right to left. Bellarmine bringing a 4-0 overall record, 1-0 in league. Taking on the Monarchs, 3-1 overall, 0-1 league. David, I think that when these two teams face off, it doesn't even matter what their records are or where they are in the West Catholic Athletic League standings. It's always, everyone's always able to get up for their rival.
Yeah, I mean, this is always a huge game, and especially when you consider that both Bellarmine and Mitty have reached CCS championship games a year ago. You know, they're always teams that are contending in the league, and which is also interesting because this league is probably the toughest league in Northern California.
The smell of baby powder wafts through the air. The Bells Blue Crew is here, of course, and we're so thrilled to be here. Thank you for joining us for our season opener here on CreaTV Sports. Make sure you check out our schedule. Football, volleyball on tap in October and November. Bellarmine to kick off right to left. It'll be Cole Bunce kicking off, and back deep to return for Mitty, Austin Kaus and Justin Collier. Mitty, first-year head coach Keith Burns, what a pedigree he brings to Archbishop Mitty. More on him later. Conversely, Mike Janda in his 32nd year at the helm of Bellarmine. Both of these coaches know an awful lot about winning.
Yeah, it's really an interesting matchup, and like I said, we can get further into their backgrounds, but both these guys are longtime veterans. They sure know the game, and it's going to be a great coaching matchup as well as the league matchup.
Again, the Mitty return man not standing in smoke, not standing in fog. Well, a bit of a fog, the fog of baby powder. Again, carrying here Jaguar Field. Both schools, cheerleaders are here. Bands are here. Student sections are here as Cole Bunce starts us off. And it'll be a touchback for the Monarchs. And Mitty will get to work in their spread up-tempo offense. And starters for the Monarchs. The left tackle is Trevor Robbins. Jacob Dewey, the left guard. Nick Hogue is the center. Andrew Wiltberger, the right guard. Jacob Martinez, the right tackle. 3 wide receivers tonight: Andrew Cairns, Austin Kaus, and Tyler Yotkin. The running back is Justin Collier. The fullback is Zondre Farage Washington. And Sam Sarah wearing number 7. Starting things off out of the shotgun, Mitty, as Sarah puts it on his hip. Real estate to move, and he is out to the 28-yard line.
Yeah, nice start for the Monarchs. And again, I think we're going to see a lot more running than passing in this game. Both teams very good at this part of the game, and it could be a quick ball game.
2nd and 2, as we see Sarah so deadly, so effective off the ground as Bellarmine in their traditional 3-5-3 defense. We'll get to their starters after this play. Man in motion, and flags come as our crew, led by the referee Kenny Jackson, getting into action here early. And that's going to be a false start on Mitty. The Bellarmine Bell starting defensive tackles Isaac Oshana and Blake Jackow. Cade Hall is the nose as we take a look at Mike Janda. The outside linebackers, Will Crummy and Justin Malone. The inside linebackers, there's 3 of them: Jacob Bergstrom, Bobby Ficino, and Jack Bunton. The corners tonight, starting Kyle McCauley, Mr. Do Everything for this Bellarmine squad, as well as Devin Buonrostro. The safety tonight, Vincent Fernandez. 2nd and 7 for the Monarchs. Sarah surveying the field and sees some running room, but that's a great reactive stop by Bellarmine, limiting Sarah up the middle of the field.
Yeah, that was Isaac Oshana with the stop on that one. And, Mitty didn't look very comfortable both times in pass formation. A illegal procedure penalty the first time they tried it, and then a scramble on that time. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get their passing game in gear.
Sarah picks up 2 on 3rd and 5, looks to throw again, dumps off the screen pass, room to run, and Bellarmine still having problems bringing down Collier, as Collier short of a first down.
Yeah, nice coverage by Bellarmine. They weren't surprised by that screen. I think that was a check down play for the Monarchs.
The punter for Mitty is Stefan Siriano, as we take another look at Collier. Collier, a 2-way starter for the Monarchs.
I think Bellarmine had a lot more trouble trying to bring him down than they needed to on that play, but they get the ball back.
Low snap, handled well, and Mitty will down it at roughly the 41-yard line. 9:59 remaining in the first, as the Bellarmine Bells, with their very successful, very familiar double wing offense that Coach Janda likes to run. Starting tight end, Justin Malone. The left tackle is Jacob Bergstrom. Bobby Ficino, the left guard. Isaac Oshana, the center. Wolfie Raybach, the right guard. And right tackle, Noah Clark. Round out the starting lineup in just a moment. And the handoff off the left side. And Mitty, great lateral pursuit as Antonio Garcia, and a penalty comes in at the end of the play. Troy Martig, who has had such a terrific senior year for Bellarmine, will have to sit this one out with an ankle injury. Instead, we see the handoff by last year's JV starting quarterback Ike Obugu, who gets the start tonight. That's a face mask penalty against Mitty as Bellarmine walks it off. The other tight end for Bellarmine tonight is Josh Bringell. The running backs include Devin Buonrostro, Kyle McCauley. Fullback is Will Wegner, and we also saw Antonio Garcia, who shined on last year's CreaTV Sports win over St. Francis, and with the first carry for the Bells. So first down, and it's Garcia once again as he chews up the yardage. That'll bring up second and short in Mitty territory.
This is one thing that Bellarmine is.
Buenrostro with the carry, David.
Yeah, Buenrostro, this was one of the Central Coast Section state qualifying teams in the 4x100 relay, and 3 of those members are on Bellarmine's football team, so they've got some speed.
And flags come in before the snap. 3rd down and roughly 3 yards for Bellarmine as our officiating crew. And Mitty with 2 defensive penalties here as a 1st down for Bellarmine. Mitty defense of 4-4. The stud is Nick LaBruna. Tackle Jacob Martinez, the nose Jacob Dewey, and the starting end Johnny Trujillo. We'll get to the rest of the crew after this play. And short gain for Bellarmine. The bandit linebacker is Matt Morani. The Mike is Blake Flovin. The Will is Matthew Tofano, and the Rover Ryan Sutton. The 2 corners tonight, Justin Collier and Nick Deschamps. The free safety is Alex Sloan.
Yeah, Bellarmine, Mike Jandon is 32 years. Every single one of those 32 years he's used this double wing offense. And it looks a little different these days with so many spread attacks and hurry up offenses, but it's worked for Bellarmine over the years.
2nd and 9 from the 32. And short yardage, short gain once again, as McCauley with his back-to-back carries, and that'll bring up 3rd and long.
Yeah, and McCauley is another one of those guys who has a ton of speed. If he gets a little bit of an opening, that could be a dangerous thing for Mitty. Both members of the backfield, Buenrostro and McCauley, are very fast, and so is Troy Martic, who's not playing right now, but those are the main weapons from the speed standpoint.
3rd and 6 for Bellarmine. Both teams missing a key starter tonight. More on that later as Ogbogu with his first attempt. That's caught by McCauley. I think I mentioned he was Mr. Do Everything for this Bellarmine squad, and Ogbogu 1 for 1 with the completion.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how much they'll allow Ogbogu to do, because we just don't know what he's capable of in a varsity game, especially a game against a really strong opponent. So it'll be interesting to see how conservative or how much they open things up with him. They will only open things up to a certain extent because of the nature of their offense, but interesting to see what he can do.
7:30 left to go in the first quarter. 1st and 10 from the Monarchs 21. And the inside handoff and a big hole. Touchdown, Bellarmine. Antonio Garcia, the senior, with the 21-yard scoring run.
And you could see what happens when just a little bit of an opening is created by that offensive line. The Bells certainly have the speed to make it into a big play.
21-yard score for Garcia. Justin Malone is the long snapper. Sam Vogelon to hold, and it's Cole Bunce for the point after. It's good. 7:16 remaining in the first quarter. The Bells strike first, up 7-0 on the Monarchs. This broadcast is brought to you in part by the San Jose Flea Market on Berryessa Road. Big thanks to the folks at the San Jose Flea Market on Berryessa. Appreciate their support of high school sports. Well, 7 push-ups for the Bell Blue crew. The bell ringing as well, and Bellarmine with a very effective drive, but in part to some key penalties by Mitty.
Yeah, Mitty certainly hasn't helped themselves both on offense and on defense with penalties that have put them into a hole on both sides of the ball. So, Bellarmine obviously taking advantage, and I think that's what you're going to get with a veteran team. They're going to be very good at being able to exploit those mistakes that the Monarchs make.
Last year, Bellarmine won this matchup by a score of 20-17 at Mitty. Valley Christian and Sarah tied for the West Catholic Athletic League Championship last year. The Bells finished 3rd, Mitty finished in a tie for fourth with St. Francis as bunts once again into the end zone. So Mitty will go to work 1st and 10 from its own 20. And Archbishop Mitty, coached by Keith Burns in his first year. Actually, both of our head coaches tonight, David, from Texas, and Coach Burns actually attended LD Bell High School, which I happen to see has a game being broadcast tonight. And he was a quarterback and free safety, also played at the University of Arkansas. More on Coach Burns after this play. Mitty was 3 and done on its first possession, and they hand off here, and you see the swarming defense of Bellarmine to limit the carry by Justin Collier. And Coach Burns, what an asset he is expected to be.
What's interesting, too, is both coaches have, in their college careers, Keith Burns was coached by Lou Holtz at Arkansas, and Mike Janda was coached by Darrell Royal at Texas. Those are two of the, giants of college football coaching.
Sarah on the keeper, trying to cut back outside. And a late penalty comes in. And our officiating crew, the referee tonight, Kenny Jackson, as mentioned. The umpire, Jared Middleton. Our head linesman is Ray Mialovich. The line judge is Bob Schuster. And our back judge is Craig Kersey, Craig Kersey, the back judge. And a face mask penalty, the second this quarter, this time against the Bells.
So positive yardage, even by penalty, for Mitty is certainly welcome. They're setting themselves up on both series with poor plays on first down, so they're leaving themselves with 2nd or 3rd and long, and it's very hard to try to create any kind of a rhythm when you're having to play out of a hole right off the bat on each series.
So after the penalty, it's 2nd and short for the Monarchs as they spread out this offense. 3 receivers up top for Mitty. Sam Sarah getting the start tonight, the senior. Mitty also has another quarterback they can go to, and on the screen pass.
Looks like it's enough.
And it's Austin Kaus, the 5'9", 153-pound junior, playing a part in achieving Mitty's first down of the game.
If you're a Mitty fan, you just hope that this is the play that kind of gets them into gear. Took advantage of that penalty, and let's see if they can get their series going.
Sarah doing a good job cutting back, but Bellarmine not biting on the fake handoff. Looks like 1 yard, well, actually a very healthy spot, if you will, or a beneficial spot. 2nd and 7 for the Monarchs.
And I don't know how often Mitty throws downfield, but we haven't seen a downfield pass attempt yet, so something to look out for if they need to on these long plays.
Yeah, Sarah, that just underthrown on 3rd and 7. Andrew Cairns, the intended receiver.
Mitty also has another quarterback, Philip Tran, on their roster, and a transfer from Fremont. We may, who knows, see him later on today too. So interesting to see how Coach Burns plays his 2 quarterbacks.
As Sarah looking toward the sideline, flips those 3 receivers back out on top. 6:10 left to go in the first. It's 3rd and 7, and across the middle, that was certainly a catchable ball. But as can always be the case, those crossing routes across the middle can be problematic. And Blake Flovin, I believe that was Blake Flovin, the intended receiver. Or Jacob.
I think it was Jacob Jokin.
Tyler Jokin. So the punt team out again for Mitty. Better punt this time. And taken at the 28, a missed tackle. But then McCauley is run down for a Negative return. 5:56 remaining in the first. Bellarmine with a 7-0 lead.
You know, it's interesting just having seen Stanford's Christian McCaffrey play wearing number 5, and you see Kyle McCauley wearing a number 5, and they both seem to have kind of similar styles with very elusive but hard running, and kind of interesting comparison with those numbers.
1st and 10 from the Bells 25. Last year starting JV quarterback getting the nod tonight, Ogbogu. And the handoff to Buenrostro. With the exception of that one big play, the 21-yard scoring play by Garcia, both teams have defended the run well thus far.
Yeah, I think you're going to see that a lot with, especially with Bellarmine, just because everybody knows for the most part what they're going to be doing when they line up with these really tight formations. So it's one of those things where they'll be stopped for short yardage several times, but then boom, they'll hit something big, either by opening up a hole or maybe taking a chance and throwing it downfield.
2nd and 8 after the 2-yard gain. And Ogbogu with the carry. And the junior keeping his legs moving. And that's a 1st down, Bellarmine.
I like the decision making that he's displaying so far. In his first start, doesn't seem like he's nervous at all.
Making the most of these minutes. 6 foot, 175-pound junior. Getting his first start this season because of the ankle injury to Troy Mardig, the senior. Buenrostro with room to run as he reaches that next level. Mitty turns to Nicholas Deschamps, the corner, with the touchdown, potential touchdown saving tackle, but a big gain by Buenrostro.
Yeah, good pulling play by the left side of the line going towards the right. Nice tackle in open field by Mitty to prevent a touchdown.
Also Collier in that tackle as well. 1st and 10 from the Monarchs 46, the inside handoff. And now the middle of the field beginning to give, this time Garcia with the carry.
I think that's the beauty of the double wing, is this misdirection, and even in these tight spaces, being able to create space. And you saw Raybach pulling from the right to the left, opening up that hole for Garcia. So a nice play there, and we'll probably call Raybach's name a few times on some of these blocks, that because he's could be the best player on the field.
2nd and 4, inside 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Mitty looking to force Bellarmine to punt for the first time tonight, and I believe no gain on the play.
Yeah, nice job by Mitty to stuff that run. Interesting, out of the shotgun, and then using that as a running play, trying to throw off Mitty, thinking it might be a pass.
Bellarmine Bells, again coached by Mike Janda in his 32nd year. 3rd and 4 for the Bells. Ogbogu dropping back, going downtown, and you see the intended receiver, Justin Malone, the tight end, lost it, was looking over his left shoulder, his right shoulder.
And that may be one of those situations where you have a quarterback that hasn't worked that much with certain receivers, because the more familiar you get with each other, the more you know maybe to look over a certain spot, to run to a certain spot when the ball is thrown. So I would think that might be a reason for that incompletion.
Jack Geiger, the Bellarmine punter, standing at his 46-yard line. Austin Kaus back for the Monarchs. And Bellarmine with a chance to down this. And they do. 2:57 remaining in the first quarter. Mitty trails 7-0.
On both those punts, Mitty punt and Bellarmine punt, so far the punters have dropped the ball, mishandled the snaps, and I think that's contributed to a couple poor kicks. Mitty's got a lot better field position than probably they should have right now based on punting from the 40-yard line. So basically a 15 or 17-yard punt for Bellarmine.
Mitty with 2 Central Coast section titles, Bellarmine with 5. But always, it seems, these 2 programs, always a threat. And first play from scrimmage here on this series, run off the right tackle, penalty marker thrown by referee Jackson. And that's a holding call against the Monarchs. So I would think head coach Keith Burns not happy with all the hankies on the field.
Yeah, we mentioned about the CCS titles. Bellarmine probably in the early 80s, late 70s was maybe one of the premier programs in the state. They're still obviously one of the top. They're always ranked, it seems like, annually in the state's top 20. They could be the top-ranked team or the top team in the CCS this year, but there was a stretch where the mythical state championship went through Bellarmine or St. Francis for several years. Great rivalry there between those schools.
Absolutely. 1st and 24 after the penalty. 2:30 left to go in the first. Sarah, as the Monarchs make up a chunk, as Colin McKinnon, the 5'10", 171-pound senior, has his first catch.
The Bells still have, the Monarchs second and about 16 or so. So they're definitely going to have to throw here unless they have some kind of a secret weapon out in the backfield.
On 2nd and 16, Sarah rolling to his left, cutting back to his right. Plenty of time and almost chased down from behind, but Sarah looks like a downhill skier navigating moguls, cutting back and forth. That's some juking and some jiving by Sam Sarah. It'll bring up a 3rd and about 4.
Yeah, he really made something out of nothing, didn't he? It's a great description, Kirsten.
You'd think I was a skier.
All of a sudden, it's a manageable 3rd down play.
That's why Sarah has the starting job. And again, Sarah, and I think that what a shame.
The refs were fooled on that play.
Oh my gosh, and you saw the referee Kenny Jackson drop his head, and Mitty fans are just...
He blew the whistle when he thought the back that was faked to had the ball and was tackled, but in the meantime, Sarah was running upfield.
This is a very experienced officiating crew, and as you see, Kenny Jackson heading over to the sideline. I think, this is so rare for this to happen anyways, and I'm sure that the crew who is kicking themselves.
Part of it, as you can see from the replay, is that Bellarmine gave up.
Yeah, they stopped playing.
So it would have been maybe a 10-yard gain possibly, if that, but it certainly would not have been a 60-yard run if the whistle had not blown. I think that's, it's not like that whistle prevented a touchdown.
1st down, Monarchs, as everyone will try to erase that from their consciousness, as the Monarchs hand off to Collier, and here comes a penalty marker in at the end of the play. David, for the 5th game of the season, this is a very sloppy game, as Bellarmine called with the personal foul, and I think that's just maybe going to be helmet to helmet.
Yeah, it looks like it was head-to-head right there, and they're, of course, for good reason, really cracking down at all levels of football on any kind of a hit like that.
First time tonight with 1:14 left in the first quarter. Mitty is in Bellarmine's territory. 1st and 10 from the Bells 42. Sarah almost got his ankle snatched. Instead, Sarah busting out the big run. I think you can say Sam Serra is getting better as this series goes on.
Yeah, Jacob Bergstrom had him in the backfield, but couldn't secure the tackle. And we're looking at Serra, and I think that's definitely Mitty's best weapon right now is his scrambling ability.
20-yard run by Serra. Ball on the Bells, 22. 44 seconds remaining in the first. Again, the Monarchs in the traveling white and gold. Inside handoff. And about a 7-yard gain by Collier.
Nice run. It just seems like when you get these scrambles and all that, you're putting the defense on its heels, and so all of a sudden you've gotten a rhythm on offense. Bellarmine's a little bit skittish in some ways. They're looking for more things than maybe they need to.
Vincent Fernandez with the tackle on that play. As very short gain after the completion to Zandre Farage Washington. And that will do it. So we see the play action. And Farage Washington. It'll be 3rd and 5 for Mitty when we return. You're watching the West Catholic Athletic League High School Football on CreaTV Sports.
CreaTV San Jose would like to thank Republic Family of Companies for their generous sponsorship of our coverage of high school sports. It's because of our sponsors that CreaTV is able to cover high school sports throughout the city of San Jose.
The undefeated Bellarmine Bells leading Mitty Monarchs 7-0 as second quarter about to get underway here on CreaTV Sports Jaguar Field on the campus of San Jose City College. The site, Kirsten Fairchild alongside David Kiefer. Boy, that tale of one quarter, Bellarmine came out so strong. Mitty shot themselves in the foot with some penalties, but now the Monarchs are really, they're putting their trust and faith on their first-year starting quarterback, Sam Serra.
He's done it all, basically on his scrambling ability. But it's interesting because I haven't really seen too much in system, as they would say in volleyball. You're seeing things where he's making plays through his athleticism.
Serra taking off to his right on 3rd and 4, first down yardage and more. Touchdown, Mitty.
13-yard run, and they set it up with trips left, 3 receivers stacked up on the left side, kind of forcing Bellarmine to pay attention to the opposite side of the field, and then he runs left on a designed run play. That was probably the first time he ran with Serra ran without a scramble part of it. That was a planned play all the way.
Nicholas Eppel on for the extra point. Ian Wilson, the long snapper. A.J. Hernandez, the holder. It's good. 11:54 remaining in the first half. Mitty knocks it up. We're all tied up at 7. Big thanks to Republic Family of Companies for its generous sponsorship of this broadcast. Thank you so much to Republic Family of Companies. So glad to have you back on CreaTV Sports as a sponsor, and appreciate all of our sponsors all season long, including Republic Family of Companies. Kirsten Fairchild alongside David Kiefer. David, I can't say enough about Sam Serra in his first year as a starting quarterback. Brett Foley had done such a great job for the Monarchs. Last year, I believe he's over at San Jose State along with the ultra-athletic Dakari Monroe. So great to see the local guys staying local, but Sam Serra showing a lot of composure.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the Mitty passing game really click, so I would think if I was Bellarmine, I would really load up against the run and kind of force him to throw the ball downfield, because they haven't had to do that yet, and I'm not sure what Serra's arm is like or how good his receivers are, but we haven't even had a chance to find out. We know how good he can run the ball.
As Eppel shows he can earn a touchback. And, we haven't really had a chance to mention Mitty's key injury, and that is Derek Bowerly, the 5'7", 187-pound senior running back who was just a force to be reckoned with in the first few games of the season. But on September 18th, unfortunately, suffering a season-ending foot injury.
Yeah, they really rolled over Los Gatos and Aptos and Palo Alto, and I think they missed him near the end of that Reardon game.
Macaulay with a nice move to escape the first defender.
It's interesting too, just with how highly regarded Bellarmine is, and then when you put in a new quarterback without experience, is he going to be able to lead a team to victories in games that maybe people think that they should win, So
yes.
To keep that top, this is such a tough league. It's going to be interesting to see if he can do what Troy Mardig has done.
On 2nd and 4. And the quarterback blocking well for Vincent Fernandez. And Fernandez with a big gain. David, did you see Ogbogu? Great blocking up front by first game starting quarterback.
Yeah, he's he's not afraid to throw himself upfield. That was a nice play all the way around. Some great blocking downfield for the Bells.
Penalty marker on the play.
Might have been a face mask possibly. I'm not sure. Well, they probably wouldn't be talking that long if it was. Probably on the Bells. That's what the Mitty coaches seem to think.
Personal foul again on Bellarmine. And that will back up Mike Janda's team. Again, Mike Janda in his 32nd year. Went to Strake Jesuit High School in Houston, Texas before matriculating and playing as a wide receiver at UT Hook'em Horns. Mike Janda, 261 career wins at Bellarmine to 102 losses and 3 ties.
Yes, what an incredible record. And think of all the great players that he's coached at Bellarmine. Michael Clay, linebacker here, went to the NFL. Of course, even the quarterbacks they've had in recent years, KJ Carta Samuels, who's at University of Washington, KJ's older brother Austin, who played at Vanderbilt, and loads of other, linemen who played at places like Stanford, Kevin Dancer. Really it's become one of the primary places for top young football players to go, and they've been able to develop them enough where they can get many of these players major college scholarships.
It's a bit of delay on the field as the referee clearing things up with Mitty's coaching staff, and after the delay, it's be 1st and 10 for the Bells.
One of the players I forgot to mention was Uswa Amanam, who was a do-everything player here for the Bells. Great defensive back, running back. Went to Stanford, was a Rose Bowl MVP when they beat Wisconsin in 2012.
Garcia stopped by Matthew Marani. 10:45 remaining in the first half. 2nd and 7 for Bellarmine, looking to reestablish momentum in this West Catholic Athletic League game. Bellarmine coming off big win over Sarah last week. Mitty coming off a disappointing loss to the surprising Reardon Crusaders as Garcia tackled in the backfield for a loss.
Yeah, that one just didn't seem to go anywhere. It just seemed to like the Bells kind of somehow telegraphed that Mitty knew every step of the way what was coming. And now, Bells are faced with a 3rd and long without, it'll be interesting to see if Oglagu can throw downfield. We haven't seen much of his arm other than that long pass play that fell incomplete to his tight end. So this is an opportunity to see what he can do from a passing standpoint.
3rd and 10 for the Bells. They spread it out. Pressure coming. Ogbogu scrambling to his right. And forced out of bounds. That'll bring out the punter, Jack Geiger.
Yeah, Nick Afton with the heavy rush, and that's really what blew up the play. Once he came through and Ogbogu had to scramble a little bit, then really the play had no chance of succeeding. But Mitty's right now, they've got the Bells on their heels. The momentum has definitely shifted to the Monarchs.
Geiger gets it away as Kaus. Ball bouncing out of bounds. So Mitty with great field position. They'll go to work from, well, still settling on a spot there. Looked like it went out of bounds at the 46-yard line. I'm Kirsten Fairchild alongside David Kiefer. And David, Troy Mardig, the returning starting quarterback for Bellarmine. Again, he was questionable throughout the week, not suited up tonight because of an ankle injury. How much do they miss? Last week, 22 carries for 159 yards. He scored from 52 yards out, 13 yards out, and then connected with McCauley for a 52-yard TD catch as Mitty throws on first down successfully. And a 9-yard catch, and it looks like the receiver shook up a little.
That was Kaus there on the reception. Took a hard shot but held on to the ball. 8-yard gain. And Sarah took a shot as well.
See if we can. Yep. And it's McCauley dishing out the punishment. Sarah quickly back to his zigzag running. And that'll be a first down.
Bergstrom with a nice tackle there. Looked like it could have been an even longer gain, but the Monarchs again are moving the chains.
Just under 9 minutes play in the first half. We're knotted up at 7 apiece. 4 teams at 1-0 in the West Catholic Athletic League. 4 teams at 0-1. And it's the winless in league team, Mitty Monarchs, with the ball and in Bellarmine territory. 1st and 10 for Mitty from the 44. And trying to turn the corner on the right side. As we see Logan Dawson, the 5'10", 165-pound sophomore, with his first carry and a loss of 1.
Yeah, number 9, Ian Wilson with the tackle. Kind of like a veer or fly sweep type thing that the Monarchs used on that play. Didn't fool the Bells.
2nd and 11. On the inside handoff. Pickup of about 3 as up pops Matthew Tofano, I believe, with the carry. So Tofano, so critical to this team as an inside linebacker, getting a chance to show what he can do on offense.
Will Mitty throw this time?
Yeah, on 3rd and 8. Tofano with a good block to buy Sarah some time, but a big play by Buenrostro. However, the flag comes in. We have a PI call?
Well, that's probably what they're calling, but I thought it was a pretty good play. He may have had an arm on him before the ball got there. That was probably enough to get the flag. But, another thing wasn't the ball was a little bit, not kind of a duck, but it was effective because it did get to the receiver.
Karen's the intended receiver.
And again, moving the chains for Mitty. They're, whether it's by penalty or by a run or whatever, they're moving forward. They're attacking Bellarmine, and they have a great opportunity to finish off this drive, I think, if they continue with this rhythm, take the lead.
A little more than 7 minutes remaining. 1st and 10 from the Bells 27. Tofano, run off right tackle. Pickup of 7. And Matthew Tofano, very good GPA, David. He's looking at some of the Ivy League schools. Definitely wants to go to school on the East Coast, considering Columbia, possibly Cornell. His sister out on the East Coast going to school. As this time off the left tackle, and all of a sudden Bellarmine's getting a healthy dose of Matthew Tofano.
Yeah, well, I think, his size too. He looks like the biggest back that Mitty has, and I think, sometimes when you've got a team that's getting pushed around like they're pushing around Bellarmine a little bit, it helps to have even more muscle to kind of just wear them down even further.
3rd and 3 for the Monarchs. Twin receiving set. Sarah dumps it off to the right side. Is that Tofano again?
No, that's number 8, McKinnon.
Colin McKinnon with his second catch. And that'll be 1st down, Monarchs.
Yeah, the fake to Tofano up the middle and the quick pass to the right side.
At the Bellarmine 16. Three receivers out left for Sarah. Caught by Kaus. And Kaus, who had been shaken up earlier on the series, back out there for the reception.
Yeah, they tried to kind of clear out that side of the field by having 3 receivers go deep. And Kaus coming out of the backfield, still picked up some good yards, 3 or 4 yards, maybe not quite what they intended, but a nice effort to try to open up some space.
Mitty really chewing up clock here as they're on the offset eye. Collier.
Again, they're Monarchs sending 3 receivers out on almost every play, and it's trying to create some space, even on the inside. A lot of times people don't realize that the spread offense, which seems like a passing offense, could be a really deadly running offense, and this is what the Monarchs are using right now.
3rd and 4 for the Monarchs. 5 minutes and counting here in the first half. All knotted up at 7 as Sarah on the slant, waiting for the signal. Touchdown, Mitty. McKinnon on his 3rd catch with the 11-yard score. The Monarchs take the lead.
What an outstanding throw by Sarah. We were kind of trying to figure out what kind of an arm he has, and that was his best throw of the day, right on the money, in stride on that slant in front of the defender. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Appel for the point after, and the left-footed kicker sends it through. 4:50 remaining in the first half as the Monarchs take the lead 14-7. This broadcast is brought to you in part by the Flea Market on Berryessa Road, the San Jose Flea Market on Berryessa Road. Always so fun to go out to the flea market. A big thanks to the organization for sponsoring CreaTV Sports.
You never know what you're going to find at the flea market.
You never know, and it's usually, I think, almost universally a deal. A good deal.
Good deal, yes.
And good deal right now for the Mitty Monarchs, as they really have turned toward their veterans, their seniors like Matthew Tofano and Sam Sarah, the quarterback, as well as the receiver, Colin McKinnon. So Sarah scored earlier in the quarter on a running play, and this time through the air to McKinnon as Appel sends it into the end zone here at Jaguar Field in San Jose. 4:50 remaining, the Bells trailing by 7. David, Bellarmine has had such a great season. I mean, really some big wins. And we spoke about how big Wolfie Raybach was, but this is a smaller Bellarmine squad.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're suited to running. They have speed. They have a lot of good breakaway guys. And I think their blockers also have to be able to fire out quickly, and I think it all plays part of their style.
Garcia with the catch. So a little bit of deception with that very tight formation in the double wing. Instead, Ogbogu throwing on first down.
Yeah, I think this is it's probably too early to call it a critical possession for the Bells, but I think it's important for them to answer Mitty's 2 touchdowns unanswered. You got, a little less than 5 minutes left in the half. What a great thing this would be for Bellarmine to be able to tie it up rather than give Mitty another chance to extend their lead.
McCauley off the left side as the scrum stood up. 4:30 remaining in the first half.
Yeah,
and maybe a gain of 2 on the play. 3rd and 5 for the Bells.
Yeah, I think, Mitty just seems to be playing a really inspired defensive game. And a lot of that, of course, is, Keith Burns' influence being a defensive coordinator at places like USC and a coach with the Raiders for a couple years on their staff. I mean, he's been all over the place. His resume is incredible. And I think you're seeing a Mitty team that's very well coached.
Bellarmine spreading it out with the twin receiving set. The intended receiver, Vincent Fernandez.
And that was Tefano breaking it up. I mean, running on offense and making plays like that on defense, and all of a sudden 3 and out for the Bells. Now Mitty has a chance to get the ball in pretty good field position with plenty of time to take a huge lead and maybe break open this game.
Geiger back in to punt. 3:57 remaining the first. Both teams with all timeouts remaining. As Gauss will let this head out of bounds once again. So once again, fairly decent field position for the Mitty Monarchs. And again, last year finished 4th in the West Catholic Athletic League in a tie with St. Francis. Last week, they lost to Reardon 37-21. David, they led Reardon by a touchdown at the half, were tied in the 3rd quarter, but then the Reardon Crusaders, they've been surprising some folks.
Reardon's been the story of the West Catholic League, and they have a first-year coach, a guy named Kevin Forden. Last year, Reardon was 1-9. This year, they're 4-0 with a big win over Mitty, tied for first place with Bellarmine, St. Francis, and Valley Christian after the first week.
Some room to run up the middle as Kaus with the carry.
Yeah.
Second and 5 for the Monarchs. Notice that Mitty really takes a lot of time in between plays, although they are a no-huddle offense, but I think just getting the play called, getting the play in, but playing the quicker tempo here, nearing the final minutes of the first half, and Kaus with back-to-back runs, and the second one results in a first down.
Yeah, it looked like they took advantage of maybe a little blitz action by Bellarmine to create some opening on the left side of the line there.
Nearing the 3-minute mark, and the ball just shy of midfield.
And the Monarchs still have all 3 timeouts left.
Tefano, as he falls forward for a big gain.
So you're getting Mitty in these great first down plays, so creates 2nd, 3rd, and short. Very makeable plays, keeping the chains, pushing forward. I mean, this is really, I think, Mitty at its best right now.
2nd and 5. And that pass from Sarah just too low. And incomplete is Cairns. You know, Cairns had a great year as a receiver last year for Mitty, but at least thus far, the pass is not really catchable. The throw's not catchable sent his way.
Yeah, and again, you know, different quarterback, different styles. So, you know, find out what works best for each individual.
This is a big play on 3rd and 5. Sarah gets it away, and you see the stumble by number 32, and that's Faraj Washington. And if he would have been able to keep his feet a little more, things might have really gotten interesting for the Mitty Monarchs.
Yeah, nice pass play. On the move, I think most of these passes have been on the move by Sarah. That one was right on target and almost created a huge play for the Monarchs. Good enough for a first down at least.
You see that once again, that formation, same result. Well, same execution as Sarah runs. Remember, that resulted in the first Mitty touchdown. Instead, he'll have to settle for 3. One score, West Catholic Athletic League source, St. Francis up 7-0 on Valley Christian.
Another big game. Well, aren't they all, I guess, in the West Catholic League?
Absolutely. And Sacred Heart Cathedral leading St. Ignatius by a score of 7-0. 90 seconds remaining in the first half. Sarah on the slant, and Cairns can't hold on to it. Not sure if that was deflected by Buenrostro. Perhaps we can see on our replay.
Looked like a pretty good defensive effort on that play to cause the incompletion.
Yeah, I believe it was Buenrostro who was called on the PI.
Right on that one. And, you know, time's starting to be a little bit of a factor. 1:25 left in the half. Mitty still has all 3 timeouts left, so they don't necessarily have to throw the ball or whatever. They can still stick to the ground game.
Twin receiving set for Sarah.
Yeah, 3rd and long, though, about 6 yards or 6 or 7 yards for a first down.
And they're letting some clock come off here as Mitty calls its first timeout. Timeout on the field, 1:25 remaining in the half. Mitty with a 14-7 lead, facing 3rd and 7 from the Bellarmine 27. Big thanks to co-sponsor Republic Family of Companies for its support of this broadcast. Thank you so much, Republic Family of Companies. So glad to have you back as a sponsor for CreaTV San Jose, CreaTV Sports. Alongside David Kiefer, I'm Kirsten Fairchild. David, we weren't exactly sure what we were going to see tonight. As you mentioned, these teams trying to establish identity, especially for Mitty, losing Derek Bowerly. And then we knew that Bellarmine's quarterback, Troy Mardig, was questionable for tonight. And I'm sure our viewers are really appreciating seeing a competitive game.
Yeah, and then, you know, I think Mitty had trouble its first couple series, and then all of a sudden they've just kind of found their way. And this is, you know, talk about finding an identity. I think they found their identity in this half.
Out of the timeout, Sarah going end zone. Cairns with some separation, and they're going to, touchdown. First it looked like that was called an incompletion. That was a TD all the way, as we were just saying. Cairns had not been thrown a catchable ball, and perhaps getting a little separation, but certainly coming through with the big play.
Well, look at the way Cairns set himself up. Not only was it a great throw, but he kept Buenrostro off with his right arm. Didn't shove him or anything, but just kept that distance and allowed him to get that space enough to make that catch.
Good job by the holder putting that down for Epple. The holder, A.J. Hernandez, and Mitty 21-7. However, Bellarmine will have 1:18 remaining in the first half, and all 3 timeouts remaining.
Yeah, but one of the things that, you know, Bellarmine playing out of this double wing, it's not really an offense that can move the ball quickly down the field. You know, they're going to get their big plays occasionally, but it's not like, you know, giving the ball to Joe Montana against the Bengals in the Super Bowl in the final minute or something like that. It's not really an offense that's designed to pick up big chunks of yardage.
But we don't know what Ogbogu. He was the MVP of the junior varsity squad last year.
And the Bells were very good. I think they were 9-1 as a JV team. Obviously they have a great program from top to bottom. So you're going to see a lot of really good players, come up, even if they don't have varsity experience.
Just got to give credit to these kickers. I still believe at the high school game that touchbacks aren't an assumption, and
either are extra points.
No, and the kickers, Cole Bunce, of course, the veteran for Bellarmine last year on this field on CreaTV Sports, kicking a 45-yard field goal at the half, and that held up for the winning score. At least there was a 3-point cushion. So Bellarmine can also be thinking that way, get close enough.
Well, they're going to have to
get some points.
Yeah, they'll probably still need to get to maybe the 30-yard line. So that's 50 yards of real estate they need to cover just to maybe get a long field goal attempt.
Ogbogu scrambling to his right, and I'm not sure if he was overthrowing or underthrowing either Vincent Fernandez or Kyle McCauley, but a little too close to the secondary of Mitty.
Yeah, I don't think he needed to be throwing on the run. Once he got out of the pocket, he still had time to plant his feet and make a nice throw, but instead he just lost any accuracy.
And Fernandez was wide open, Dave, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it was just, even if he's going to be hit, I think he needs to just plant his feet and throw the ball off his back foot.
1:11 remaining on second down. Ogbogu. Screen pass, room to run, first down yardage and more, and this time Vincent Fernandez with the catch and making the change move.
Yeah, they almost let Mitty rush unobstructed up the middle, and that opened up the huge real estate right over the top.
19-yard throw and catch from Ogbogu for Fernandez. 53 seconds and counting. Again, Bellarmine all 3 timeouts, Mitty with 2. And again, Bellarmine with the spreading out the formation. And on the slant, McCauley knew that was coming and not secure the ball. Granted, thrown a little behind him.
That was a nice throw. He really put some velocity, Ogbogu, on that ball, which I haven't seen today at all, but some pretty good defense by Mitty. That was number 41, Alex Sloan.
39 seconds remaining. 2nd and 10 for the Bells from their own 39. Ogbogu with touch. McCauley wide open. McCauley could go all the way.
61 yards. Well, we were talking about big plays, a big play offense. That was not quite part of the regular arsenal for Bellarmine. But a beautiful throw by Ogbogu, and got an opportunity to make the big play because of a defender fell down.
Now pardon me.
29 seconds left in the half.
Bellarmine calls a timeout. They didn't have enough men on the field, Dave, so Bellarmine really lucky to get the timeout in.
That was
in time, and now everyone in the stadium knows what Bellarmine has.
Well, that whole drive only took less than 50 seconds, and for a Bellarmine team that plays a strictly, well, I wouldn't say strictly, but basically a running offense, that's not something you would expect.
Bunce with the point after. It's good. 29 seconds remaining. Mitty leads at 21-14. Mitty with 2 timeouts remaining. Dave, talk about a very exciting few minutes here in the first half as the push-ups, 14 of them, and there goes the bell.
You know, the play, Macaulay made a really great adjustment on that route because the throw, he wasn't quite sure where the throw was going to end up, and so he had to adjust his route. And I think that's partly why the defender fell, because the defender was trying to react to Macaulay changing his direction and tripped over his feet a little bit, and that allowed Macaulay to not only make the catch but also run that final 30 yards downfield unobstructed for the touchdown. But great effort by Macaulay to come up with that ball and make the adjustment on the fly.
And Dave, you know, obviously Bellarmine runs this double wing, but what I've really appreciated about Mike Janda is that he's willing to make adjustments as far as the talent of his quarterback. And you mentioned KJ Carter-Samuels, you know, and he's willing to make the changes necessary given the talent of his quarterback and the perhaps the skill and aptitude of his quarterback to throw the ball. And what a pass catch for Obogu to Macaulay to make this a one-score game. And we'll see an onside kick here?
No.
Again, that touchback, that was probably the closest to being fielded and play. Instead, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Monarchs.
Yeah, what a big series by Bellarmine, you know, to answer Mitty when Mitty's, you know, in danger of creating such a gap that Bellarmine wouldn't be able to catch up, and now all of a sudden it's fairly even, anybody's game.
And as often with these West Catholic Athletic League games, it comes down to a team giving up the big play, and Mitty giving up the big play, but still with a 7-point lead. Sarah with the handoff. Nope, Sarah not with the handoff. I was fooled, but not Bellarmine's Isaac O'Shaughnessy.
Well, the refs weren't fooled either.
That's good. Sarah, one of the first times tonight he's looked hesitant about, or indecisive, I should say. One thing that, you know, he's really shown as a senior quarterback is making decisions, just let the clock wind down. It's halftime at Jaguar Field. Mitty up 21-14 on the undefeated Bellarmine Bells. Dave, your thoughts?
Well, I think Bellarmine just seemed to be the aggressor at the beginning. Mitty made a couple mistakes penalty-wise and whatever, and it looked like Bellarmine had a chance to, maybe this was going to be a game they could dominate, but Mitty totally responded, 3 unanswered scores, and then to see Bellarmine respond in turn with an amazing 60-yard play, I think it just shows what kind of a second half we're going to have.
Mitty up 21-14. Back with more action. You're watching CreaTV Sports.
CreaTV San Jose would like to thank the San Jose Flea Market on Berryessa Road for their generous sponsorship of our coverage of high school sports. It's because of our sponsors that CreaTV is able to cover high school sports throughout the city of San Jose.
Halftime at Jaguar Field. Mitty leading Bellarmine 21-14. Before the game, the baby powder shower from the Bells Blue Crew. Always a great way to kick things off when Bellarmine has a home game. And Bellarmine off to a great start. Dave Antonio Garcia from 21 yards out. Bellarmine led heading into the second, 7-0.
Yeah, and it looked like Bellarmine might be able to kind of even add to it, but then Samuel Serra with a touchdown run from 13 yards ties up the score, and then the Monarchs couldn't be stopped after that.
Later in that quarter, breaking the 7-7 tie, it was Sarah connecting with McKinnon from 11 yards out 14-7 Mitty.
And then the Monarchs, too, here with Faraj Washington breaking a tackle, getting some yards, setting up their third touchdown, which came on an incredible pass from Samuel Serra on this play to Andrew Cairns, and just did a great job of holding off the defender, making a great catch in stride. And you see the official originally looked like he was signaling for an incomplete pass, but everybody else seemed to know that it was a catch. 21-7 Mitty at that point.
And then in his first start, Ike Ogbogu showing he can fill the shoes of Troy Martig and connecting with Macaulay from 61 yards out. Shocking, surprising a bit, that big pass play. And Mitty headed in the locker room with the 21-14 lead after that score at 118. And Bellarmine, despite trailing here by a score, remember the Bells are undefeated. They have beaten quality opponents, and I believe they are getting the ball first here in the second half. Yeah,
and Bellarmine has shown earlier this year that they can come from behind when they played Del Oro, which Del Oro of Loomis in the Sacramento area 2 years ago. Del Oro was the NorCal champ, beating Sarah in the Division I championship game for NorCal. So anyway, Bellarmine went up there and beat Del Oro in a last-minute situation with when Rostro scoring a touchdown on a 29-yard pass, and that one was a 34-31 victory. So the Bells have come from behind earlier this year. I'm sure they know they can do it. Their game against Sarah last week was a one-score game. So, this is going to be a great second half. I think both teams really want this one badly, and I think Mitty's really going to be under the gun. If they lose, they would be 0-2 in league to start out, and every game is tough. So, really kind of a pivotal game for both teams as far as being able to stay on top in the West Catholic League.
Valley Christian trailing to St. Francis 14-0 at half. If Bellarmine gets upset, then you can expect that the Central Coast section would have a newly ranked #1 team come Thursday, and it's Appel with another touchback as Bellarmine will look to the junior quarterback once again in his first start. Ike Ogbogu had to be feeling pretty good in the locker room.
Yeah, I think for what a confidence booster that last touchdown pass was. That was really a lot was to his credit, and he's got to be feeling a lot more comfortable going into the second half.
Buenrosto and Garcia in the backfield with Ogbogu, and off right tackle falling forward is Garcia. Garcia so good last year as a junior, the 5'9", 175-pound senior, back and in fine form this year.
Yeah, and a nice lead block for Bellarmine. And that was number 57, Bobby Ficino.
2nd and 3 for the Bells, wearing their blue uniforms, playing on their home turf here of the San Jose City College Jaguars. And this is Vincent Fernandez, who had some good touches in the first half. And close to a first down. So close to a first down, it is one.
And, obviously that's big for Bellarmine, just trying to get that rhythm going as the second half begins.
There's a pickup of 4 by Vincent Fernandez. Mentioned that Del Oro team up in that Sac Joaquin section, and was up there fairly recently, and a lot of the pundits were saying it was difficult to decide how good Del Oro was in the preseason and the non-league play because they played such a tough schedule.
Yeah, their record is not that impressive. I believe they have 2 or 3 losses, but again, that's one of the top programs in Northern California.
Well, and I think they played Bellarmine. I also think they played a team from Hawaii. They played teams from out of the area where, it's difficult to get a sense of, how you stack up. in the section. McCauley already with a TD catch tonight off the left side for pickup of 5, I believe.
Oh, just the last thing about Del Oro. They won their NorCal championship on this field 2 years ago over Sarah. That was for the NorCal title.
Second and 5 for the Bells. Nearly 2 minutes gone here in the third quarter. Bellarmine trailing 21-14. And the pitch to Buenrostro. Trying to turn the corner. He does, cutting back. Every yard valuable for this double wing offense, as Bellarmine returning 6 offensive starters from last year, 7 defensive starters, as Buenrostro one of them.
Yeah, and again, he was one of these runners on this 4x100 relay that went to the state championship. So Bellarmine always with a really strong track program, and a lot of these guys are dual sport athletes.
Alex Sloaning, the tackle for Mitty as Ogbogu breaks loose once again for a run. You know, he hasn't been calling his own number. The play hasn't been designated for him too often, but he's had success when it has.
Well, great fake to McCauley, and McCauley was buried by a tackler in the backfield, but he sold the fake. Ogbogu sold the fake well and picked up some nice yardage, getting that first down to midfield.
Tafano with the tackle as Bellarmine knocking on Mitty territory here. Ball spotted at midfield. 9:32 left to go in the third. High snap, but corralled by Ogbogu. And Mitty perhaps allowing a yard on the run.
Buenrostro on that one. Second and 9 after that. You know, interesting about these two teams, the last 4 years, at least one of them has reached a CCS final. Last year, Bellarmine reached the CCS Open Division Championship, losing to Sacred Heart Prep. Year before, Mitty lost to Sarah in the Open Final. In 2012, Bellarmine lost to SI in the Open Final. And in 2011, Bellarmine beat Palo Alto in the Open Final and then went to the Division I bowl game, where in a dramatic game lost to Santa Margarita 42-27.
On 2nd and 9, Ogbogu going down the near sideline. His favorite target thus far is McCauley. Once again, McCauley takes a host, a pride of Monarchs to drop McCauley. That's a combination that has worked nicely. Another big play, Ogbogu to McCauley.
A great cut by McCauley after he received the ball. And, you know, there was no surprises. There was a lot of many defenders around McCauley. A great cutback move to create some space. This is a great combination with those two players.
Nicholas Deschamps. May I just credit the fine camera work down on the sideline by our hardworking crew, as Garcia with the handoff. Dropped. Pick up perhaps a couple. It was first and goal from the 9.
And that was a 40-yard play to McCauley. So just those two catches, the one at the end of the half and this one, are over 100 yards in receptions just on those two catches from McCauley.
And Troy Martig, not expected to play today. So Ogbogu getting his first start, and I can't imagine playing any better.
Yeah, and just speculating that Martig didn't even suit up today, so who knows what his status is going to be for the following week. So Ogbogu has a chance to really shine.
Ogbogu calling his own number straight ahead and stopped short of the end zone. And Mitty's Deschamps once again with the stop. 3rd and goal.
So this kind of brings up a situation on who their short yardage back is. You know, do they have somebody that they can feel is automatically going to, pick up a touchdown or a first down on a, 1 or 2 yard situation?
As we see number 6 lining up, in the backfield. That's Will Wagner, the fullback. Still looking for his first carry tonight. 3rd and goal from the 2, and I think Mitty might have been drawn off sides.
Well, that would help Bellarmine's cause just if they cut it from 2 yards out to 1 yard.
It does. So half the distance to the goal, and as you say, Dave, put it on the one. The way Bellarmine backed up there, I thought, oh, I'm wrong. That was a false start. They were just backing up.
Mitty defenders tried to sell that, definitely, but looks like we're probably going to get the same play. They didn't even huddle up.
3rd and goal from the 1. Bellarmine looking to tie this up. It's Fernandez. Touchdown, Bellarmine.
And that was Obogu with the lead block there after the toss to Fernandez. And all of a sudden it's a tie game.
Well, an extra point shy of a tie game.
That's true. I guess we just assume with bunts kicking.
Absolutely. Bunts puts it through the upright. 21-21. 6:37 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Thank you so much to the San Jose Flea Market located on Berryessa Road. We appreciate your support of high school athletics on CreaTV Sports. Big thanks to the Flea Market on Berryessa Road. Alongside David Kiefer, I'm Kirsten Fairchild, and a big thanks to the folks here at San Jose City College and Bellarmine College Preparatory, always making us feel so welcome, and of course the athletic staff over at Archbishop Mitty helping us throughout the week prepare, as well as Mike Janda and his staff. And hello indeed, a lot of youngsters here watching their older siblings compete. Such a fun rivalry.
Well, Bellarmine's already showed us something coming from 14 points down to tie it up. We always see, interesting to see how young people respond in certain situations, and now it's Mitty's time to try to stifle that momentum that has definitely shifted toward the Bells.
Bunts has it teed up. It'll be Collier and Kaus, and they will not get a crack at it. After the touchback, 1st and 10 for the Monarchs. And Keith Burns in his first year, his career high school coaching record as a head coach 3-1, but 3 years for Coach Burns as the head of University of Tulsa.
Well, Coach Burns, apparently when he was at Arkansas, Lou Holtz had all his players asked them what their goals were in life, and he said he wanted to be a high school football coach, although he did say he wanted to be a high school football coach in Texas. However, we'll leave that part out. He is a high school football coach finally at this point of his career in California.
Inside handoff. Maybe a gain of 3. Yeah, as we said, his resume, his pedigree, the different organizations, the different, I'm sure, philosophies, the head coaches that he assisted. I mean, he really brings such a varied experience.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that maybe kept him here in the South Bay, he was a defensive coordinator at San Jose State after serving in the same capacity at USC in Arkansas, and that's where kind of his kids grew up. His son Tanner was a football standout at Valley Christian. His son Casey was a baseball standout at Valley Christian. And I think there's, he decided to set some roots is what I'm guessing. And I think the fact that he's coaching high school, he has a son who's a 7th grader. There's probably a good chance that his son Davis will eventually play for him in high school. And what
Not at Valley Christian.
Not at Valley Christian.
Sorry, I think the legacy stops. But you never know, right, about coaches coaching their sons, as Bellarmine really standing strong, standing tall here on this series. As the punt team comes out for Mitty, we haven't seen the Monarchs punter Soriano for a while.
Yeah, I mean, what a great defensive series by Bellarmine, because like we said, Bellarmine has the momentum. Mitty, a 3-and-out is not going to change that momentum, and that's Bellarmine's going to get the ball in pretty good field position.
And it's McCauley standing around his 40, but he's forced back. Waves for a fair catch, and be 1st and 10 for the Bells at the 25. 4:50 left to go in the third quarter, and we're all knotted up at 21. So Bellarmine coming out of the locker room and getting the ball first, and here we are tied at 21-21.
Yeah, I think a lot of credit should go to the Mitty punter on that, because there was a chance for Bellarmine to get the ball around midfield, and all of a sudden with that kick, they're way back at the 25, and that's a lot better position for the Mitty defense to be placed in.
Stefan Soriano, the 5'7", 160-pound senior punter. You see the
Tofano.
Big tackle by Tofano on McCauley.
Wow, he's a big-time player offensively and defensively.
As we see the double handoff, ball ending up with McCauley and Tofano pile driving him.
Yeah, in plays like that, maybe that's what the Monarchs need to switch this momentum a little bit, because those are emotional plays, and sometimes those are the types of things that can change games.
2nd and 9 for the Bells from their own 26. Ogbogu to the left sideline, caught in stride by Fernandez, tackled out of bounds at the 40, and Bellarmine showing they're just not a ground game with Ogbogu behind center.
What an
aired
arm.
out.
Yeah, he's really, when he sets up, he's hit some pinpoint passes downfield, and I think Bellarmine's going to be in good shape for as long as Ogbogu is behind center. All the weapons that Martig has, are definitely important, but this guy shows that he can move the ball and make big plays too.
Nick Deschamps had the tackle. The cornerback for Mitty has been called into action quite a bit tonight as a loss on the play.
So yeah, some really nice throws, big play. I think they're seeing some single coverage from Mitty, and they feel like with their quickness that they've got some good mismatches and trying to get some separation, and the Bells have definitely taken advantage of those mismatches to make some big plays, especially when Mitty seems to be playing the run, which is natural against a Bellarmine team that likes to run a lot.
Blake Float, the Mike linebacker, with the tackle on the previous play. 2nd and 11, 3:45 remaining in the third. All tied up at 21. Ball on the Monarchs 29. Ogbogu rolling to his right. Pressure coming, and finally throws it away. Just waiting for someone to get open, but no doing.
One of the things that I know in having a conversation with KJ Carter-Samuels a couple of years ago, when I brought up the fact that you're playing quarterback in a running offense, he said, well, you know what, this actually gives me an opportunity to show different things that I can do. Yes, people know I can throw the ball, but now I can show that I can run and that I can block and that I can lead a team. And I think those are the things that are kind of underappreciated about a quarterback, being able to do a lot of things besides just throwing the ball. And this does showcase a lot of those things, the versatility that a Bellarmine quarterback needs to play with.
On 3rd and 11. And intercepted, our first turnover of the night, as you see, went through the hands of the receiver. Bit of bad luck for the Bells. Ryan Sutton, 5'11" senior DB, making the play for the Monarchs. First turnover. Mitty ball.
Yeah, and that was another nice pass. It could have maybe kept the drive alive, but Justin Malone let the ball glance off his hands, and Mitty gets a big break. Just the fact that Bellarmine seemed to be moving the ball.
3:27 remaining in the third. Mitty takes over at its own 31. And the sweep, trying to cut back inside, and the Bellarmine defense making a strong statement, Austin Kels.
You know, I would say, I mean, not that we have to repeat it, but this is we've got a ball game. And look at the emotion and the intensity that these teams are playing with. Only 3 minutes left in the third quarter, and it's going to be a great finish.
Linebacker Will Crummy, one of the Bills, making the tackle, making the stop inside 3 minutes. Loss of 3 on the play. Sarah sacked, our first sack of the ball game. He has been so elusive tonight. But Sam Sarah finally brought down in a huge loss of yardage on the sack.
Kyvon Hughes with the blitz. Look at him just shake off the running back on the block and make the sack. That's a big play defensively for the Bells.
3rd and 21 for the Monarchs. Sarah, pressure coming, gets it away and just out of the range. And here the Bellarmine crowd, the intended receiver, Collier. So Mitty.
Big rush by Jacob Bergstrom to really break up that play before it could develop.
Trevor Robbins, the left tackle, yelling at his teammates, or at least trying to fire him up. So Bellarmine defense forcing the punt here, as once again Soriano is out. Now we've seen him deliver on the previous punt. Now taking that at his 5. So what a kick, he gets away. It's taken by McCauley at the 5, and McCauley dropped immediately. That's some great kick coverage.
Yeah, it's Matthew Marani, and McCauley really well. The Bells tried to go for the block on that one, so not a lot of blocking or slowing down the punt coverage team for Mitty, but still a great play in the open field by Marani.
2:02 remaining in the third. Ball at the 45-yard line of the Bells. So Bellarmine, despite the turnover, a very decisive statement on defense, gets it back in the blink of an eye. Not too much time off the clock as the Bells go to work once again. And inside handoff to Fernandez. Maybe a 2 or 3 on the play.
Big series. Well, we keep seeing big in reference to either side.
Yeah.
But, Mitty, a chance to, they forced a short gain on first down. Field position pretty good for the Bells, so they can't afford to give up too many first downs on this series if they want to prevent the Bells from scoring.
Ogbogu going right back to the tight end. We saw Malone glancing off his hands for the pick the last series, and those two unable to connect at this point.
Yeah, he's looks like a pretty big target. I think it would have been a tough catch either way because the Monarchs seem to have that one covered, a safety and maybe a linebacker there on top of him.
3rd and 7 for the Bells. .119 remaining in the third. Ogbo, pressure coming. And underthrows, more importantly for him, getting the ball away as Garcia in the vicinity. So the defense for Mitty coming right out and forcing Bellarmine to punt, and that brings out Jack Geiger.
Yeah, the big pressure from Blake Flovin, middle linebacker that forced that incompletion.
Cows hanging out around his own 15, and that snap bounces before it gets to Geiger. A high punt. And fair catch signal caught at the 24. 69 seconds remaining in the third. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Monarchs from their own 24. Kirsten Fairchild's alongside Dave Kiefer. Thank you so much for joining us on CreaTV Sports. Really appreciate you tuning in. This West Catholic Athletic League matchup. And once again, big thanks to the folks here at San Jose City College and, of course, the Bellarmine administrators. Welcome us to the press box. Great vantage point.
Yeah, we had a complete pass, a nice rush out by Bellarmine. The defensive coordinator is John Amarias. He's been a long-time defensive coordinator here. He has the long braid tail. There he is. And he's been doing this almost probably as long as Mike Janda has. They've been a great tandem here over the years with the Bells, and so he's certainly been in a lot of these situations in the past.
Yeah, he's great to talk to before a game for sure. Sarah under pressure, great draw by Sarah. And that's one thing Bellarmine's really done a better job with in the second half, is containing Sarah.
Yeah, he has not been a factor. I don't know if the Bells have made some adjustments, but it's another thing is, he's not getting a lot of opportunities to set up in the pocket and throw the ball. Again, he was very dangerous in the first half with his running ability, but every time he tries to tuck the ball this time, he's not getting any yardage.
3rd and 7 for Mitty. Sarah wide open on the sideline. It's Kaus driven out of bounds at the 46. First down, Mitty.
Yeah, he was uncovered, I think, maybe forgotten a little bit by the Bells, or maybe he took advantage of Bells blitz coming out of the backfield. Nobody was paying attention to him, made a big first down catch.
Garcia with the tackle. 25 seconds remaining in the third. Again, this no huddle offense from Mitty, but it takes a bit to get the play in, and Monarchs ready to go. As Collier with the carry and maybe one on the play. Mitty won its first 3 games. Lost to Reardon last week. Again, they led at halftime, tied in the third quarter. And the Crusaders used their athleticism to break loose. And that'll do it. 3 quarters complete, 21-21 the score. We're going to take a short break and return to San Jose City College with more action on CreaTV Sports.
CreaTV San Jose would like to thank Republic Family of Companies for their generous sponsorship of our coverage of high school sports. It's because of our sponsors that CreaTV is able to cover high school sports throughout the city of San Jose.
Bellarmine Bells fans looking to keep the undefeated streak going as the Bells tied with Mitty Monarchs 21-21. West Catholic Athletic League showdown. Kirsten Fairchilds alongside David Kiefer on CreaTV Sports. So glad to have you with us. David, really this game, as often is the case in sports, just kind of momentum shifts.
Yeah, we've really seen the defenses step up in that third quarter, with the exception of Bellarmine's touchdown drive. Both teams have really buckled down.
And as we saw in the second quarter, Tofano called into the action here in the fourth. So Bellarmine held Mitty scoreless in the first quarter and scoreless in the third. As Tofano with his first carry of the second half. Juan Rostro with the stop.
Mitty with the 3rd and 4 situation. This is probably their best field position they've had since the second quarter.
Sarah trying to get his mojo going again, and he does. Sarah run down from behind, but it's another big gain by Sarah, as that's a 23-yard scamper.
Yeah, I love the way he just accelerated through 3 tacklers for Bellarmine. Once he made it to the outside, he's got guys right there, and just got right through that hole before they could close on him and picked up the big gain.
3 receivers to the left for Sarah as he looks that direction. Is a man open, but it's Bellarmine with its second sack.
That was
bring up second and long.
Ian Wilson coming out of the secondary to make that play. 6-yard loss.
So the Mitty line, which had played so well in the first half, showing a little give here in the second.
Actually, that was Bergstrom, the first to get to the quarterback.
2nd and 16. Pressure coming against Sarah. Gets the ball away as he's hit. And that worked out well for the Monarchs. Sarah able to get enough on the throw.
Yeah, nice effort just getting that throw off, because he was nailed on that play by a Bellarmine defender.
And this is Cairns. He's really, he's a veteran receiver and doing a good job coming back toward the ball, recognizing that there wasn't going to be a lot on that. Brings up 3rd and 5 for Mitty. Ball on the Bells 20. Sarah run down from behind, another sack, and Bellarmine really getting a great jump off the ball. Jacob Bergstrom, the senior, once again.
Great pursuit. Never let Sarah get his footing, and on a big situation, forcing a 4th down, and it looks like it's going to be a 32-yard attempt. 42-yard attempt.
42-yard attempt. This is Nicholas Appel. And some problems there. You see on the snap, Appel, they just had a hard time getting the ball down as the Bellarmine keeps this game knotted up at 21.
You can see how big that sack was, because it took him, the kick was about 5 yards short, and that was about the distance of that loss.
Right. And again, I think, the holder having we'll take a look. I believe we have a replay to see if it was the snap or just the holder really
couldn't tell on the snap, but definitely the holder had trouble getting that ball placed.
It's a tough job. Bells 1st and 10 from their 20. Vincent Fernandez with some pretty moves.
He fumbled.
Too pretty. As Bells turn it over once again. They do still wait for a signal, and they get it.
Collier with the recovery. I'm not sure who had who forced the fumble, but bad position for a turnover for Bellarmine. 2 turnovers this half for the Bells.
The rise and fall of emotions here, Fernandez, and that just got the ball getting knocked loose. And you're exactly right, Dave. Collier. So again, the rise and fall of emotions here as Mitty gets the ball back at the Bells 31. 9:13 remaining in regulation. 21-21 the score.
Now all of a sudden, great field position for the Monarchs. We're in the 4th quarter, 9:13 left. Opportunity to take the lead, perhaps win the game.
Sarah, tired of getting sacked, use some forward momentum, put the ball on his hip for the run. I think that's a good play call, David.
I think they'd like to see things going forward rather than backward, so the passing might be at a minimum unless they really have to.
As we say, Jake Bunton with the tackle. And Sarah, again, this time with better success. That the same play?
Nice keeper. He's just playing this option read, it looks like, and making good decisions on these handoffs and whether to keep the ball. And he's picking up some good chunks of yardage down to the 20-yard line.
1st down, Mitty. House and Collier in the backfield with Sarah. Sarah working predominantly out of the shotgun tonight. Sarah on the option. This is Collier. Collier struggling to keep his balance.
Bellarmine missing out on an opportunity to stop Collier for no gain or even a loss. Collier escaping the grasp of Hughes.
Second and 5 for the Monarchs. We've seen the Bellarmine defense stand tall as they give chase to Sarah, and Sarah, that pass low and potentially could have been picked off there, but too low for Jack Button.
And a tough pass, throwing on the run into a small space. Just not able to get the accuracy that he needs in that situation.
Third and 5. Each team with all their timeouts. And we get down to it. 3 receivers up top for Sarah. We've seen the play where he'll head to his left, and instead it's a handoff to Collier, and it'll bring up 4th down. We haven't really had too many decisions needing to be made on 4th down, because when it has been 4th down, it's either been 4th and long or deep in one's territory.
Yeah, well, we know that Mitty missed the field goal on their last series. It seems to be within their kicker's range, but they're going to go for it.
It'll be a 31-yard attempt. Perhaps they're doing a hard count here. And I think we will see Nicholas Appel, and I'm sure special teams coach going over with the long snapper, holder, and kicker. As there's timeout on the field, which allows us the opportunity to give a big thank you to our sponsor, Republic Family of Companies. Thank you so much for your support of CreaTV Sports and our shared support of high school athletics in San Jose, and Santa Clara County. Thank you so much, Republic Family of Companies. I'm Kirsten Fairchild alongside David Kiefer for this Central Coast section, West Catholic Athletic League ball game. And Dave, this has been fun from start to finish. Very competitive game.
Yeah, I think I was a little bit surprised that they would have gone for it on that situation. It just didn't make any sense. When they have an opportunity in field goal range with a guy who has that kind of range. Probably just a wise move to, which I expect to bring out the field goal kicker in this situation and try to get the lead, because there's only 7 minutes left. This could be the winning points if the Monarchs can put it together. Well, I stand corrected. They're going to go for it.
It's 4th and 4 at the Bellarmine 14. 7 minutes remaining in the quarter. And a halfback option wide open, caught. Touchdown, Mitty. Colin McKinnon with his second catch. Talk about reaching in the bag of tricks. And once again, we see the receivers for Mitty doing a good job versus one-on-one coverage.
Well, that was, it's a situation where if you're going to go for it, you got to pull out your best play. And that's what the Monarchs did, totally going against the grain with anything that they've done today with the option pass. And it looks like that was number 80, Tyler Jokin with the throw.
The extra point is good. 6:54 remains. 28-21, Mitty.
What a dramatic call.
And let's take another look. Certainly worthy of it.
Sarah lined up in the shotgun, and like an end around.
And Jokin, a little bit of a flutter to that pass. But again, we see that, and Macaulay is doing a great job on defense as McKinnon helped up. But we see both Cairns and McKinnon that height, that size, that receiver, and obviously the veteran experience paying off in those 1v1 situations.
Yeah, I think it looked like the Bellarmine secondary kind of bit on that handoff and did not look like they were expecting a double, a halfback option pass like that.
Bellarmine looking for a ball they can return, and they get one. Taken at the 5. Everyone a bit surprised. We haven't seen this tonight.
Look at what's happened to Bellarmine since they scored the touchdown to tie it up. 2 turnovers, and it's almost like you're just giving Mitty the opportunity to do something like this, to take a lead. So Bellarmine's going to have to put together a long drive if they expect to try to even the score here with only 6:49 left. The ball at the 14-yard line.
Got a 9-yard return from Kyle McCauley, and a long way to the end zone for Bellarmine. 1st and 10 from its own 14. 6:49 left to go. And it's Fernandez who fumbled on the previous series, met by a very energized Mitty defense.
Yeah, Tofano again. Seems like he's in a lot of these plays. No surprise there.
Fernandez running right into Tofano. Maybe half a yard on the play. 2nd down. Gets the pass away, and it's caught. McCauley with a catch as Ogbogu in trouble. But successful catch by McCauley.
Yeah, I mean, they got a couple yards out of it, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yes.
The athleticism of Ogbogu with the twisting to get out of the grasp of the defender and then having the wherewithal to find a receiver. But it still leaves the Bells with about a 3rd and 7 situation, a 3rd and long, which is always a tough situation, especially when you're deep in your own territory and you're trying to get back into the game.
Crummy with the tackle on McCauley. 3rd and 7 from the 17 is spread out formation here for Bellarmine. Coming to the near sideline, and McCauley trying to bring that one down. He can't, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Again, it looked like a little bit of a disconnect between McCauley and Ogbogu because McCauley could have easily turned and caught the ball in stride, but he was expecting the ball in a different place and just ended up going backwards, and it was over his head.
So in the blink of an eye, Jack Geiger's out to punt for Bellarmine as Kaus at his own 46-yard line signals for a fair catch and takes it at the 49. 5:10 left to go. All 3 timeouts for both teams. Mitty playing with a 28-21 lead.
And field position again is a factor because now Mitty, even if they get a 3 and out, they're going to give Bellarmine, they're going to be able to pin Bellarmine deep in its own territory. So if the Monarchs can get a 1st down or 2, chew up a little bit of clock, and even if they don't score, they've got Bellarmine pinned back. They're in a really good situation here.
Sarah, 1st down yardage and more. He's weaving. He's at the 20, at the 10. Look at the speed of Sam Sarah. 51-yard run by Sam Sarah. He's putting those sacks in his rear view mirror and going for the end zone.
Do you think that's the dagger, Kirsten, that Mitty's been looking for? 5 minutes left in the game. A 51-yard run basically went against the grain and just outran the defense.
You were talking about the Bellarmine relay team and how fast they were. I just was stunned by that extra gear Sarah was able to shift into. The extra point is good. 5 minutes exactly remaining, and Mitty takes a 25-21 lead thanks to the senior quarterback, Sam Sarah. Thank you so much to the San Jose Flea Market located on Berryessa Road. Always a fun time at the flea market. Plenty of bargains to be had, and certainly the San Jose Flea Market on Berryessa, one of the best ones in the Bay Area. Thanks to the flea market for its support of high school athletics. David, I mean, this game really seems to have had something for everyone, and Sam Sarah looked like he was going to be run down from behind, stop. People looked like they had the right, defenders looked like they had the right angle on him, and he acted as if this was the first play from scrimmage. So much gas left in his tank.
Yeah, we've seen that on a couple of plays where he's just had this burst of speed that really creates, breaking tackles or whatever. And he's been very impressive when he's running the ball. And I don't know if this would be an upset. I mean, I think, Mitty and Bellarmine, are such big rivals, local rivals in the West Catholic League. They're very successful programs. I don't know if you would call this an upset, but I think based on Mitty's loss to Reardon last week, you would have to maybe classify it that way, even with the backup quarterback for the Bells. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we both have, we both know your former colleagues at the San Jose Mercury News, and I think they would classify it as an upset just from the tremendous non-league schedule that Bellarmine played. And granted, their starting quarterback is not on the field, but his replacement, he's not the reason the Bells, for the most part, are trailing here, as he earns the Bells a first down.
And we talked about the Bells having this ability to come back, which they've done already in this game by 2 touchdowns. They've done it against Del Oro in a big game earlier this year. So this is going to definitely be a test, maybe an even more important test, because this comes in league play. But, yeah, you're right about the quarterback. We've seen some beautiful throws that he's made, some nice runs, and he's really, I think, shined today, regardless of the score.
Yeah, and I think this game is so important for Bellarmine. I think with the non-league schedule they play, when you're one of these programs, you want to make a statement when it comes to the postseason and all the considerations that need to be given to extend your postseason, and any kind of blemish on the records here, affects these teams, as Ogbogu connects with Macaulay, and Macaulay dragged down by Buenrostro, but into Monarch territory as the passing game picking up here for the Bells. 4:27 left to go.
Yeah, we've seen that Ogbogu has a great arm, and this is the opportunity where he's going to be able to really show it, because obviously these are passing situations with the clock winding down, closing down on 4 minutes and 2 touchdowns down.
Low snap, in trouble, showing his mobility, and what a pass! And near the first down marker, we've seen some quarterbacks who can scramble tonight, as Bellarmine's Buenrostro makes the catch.
Yeah, that was one of those efforts that was all the quarterback, and obviously a nice catch, but to escape the pressure and get that ball out there, nice 8-yard gain, but a play where it could have been a loss easily.
2nd and 2 for the Bells. 4:05 left to go. Bears repeating both. Bells have all 3 times out. Mitty 2, and Ogbogu dropped for a loss.
Yeah, those were a couple defenders that weren't going to be fooled this time. That was number 52, Jacob Martinez, the first to the ball.
Third and 5 for the Bells. 3:25 and counting. Big play. And you see Macaulay slipping and falling down. unfortunate for the senior.
And another case where I think Macaulay expected the ball to be somewhere else. But that's now it's a 4th down situation, and it may be too early to say this with over 3 minutes left, but this could be the ball game.
Bellarmine calls its first timeout, 3:21 remaining, 4th and 5 for the Bells. Coach Janda calling the timeout, greeting his offense with what they've got. And the Mitty, it's Mitty across the field, the pit, and very choreographed student body section pep squad situation, as is the case for Bellarmine. And just both bands here. What a fun Friday night as far as spectators are, what they're being treated to on the sidelines and also out on the field.
Yeah, what a great atmosphere for high school sports, high school football. I mean, you really can't beat it with the backing that these schools have, and the intensity of the rivalry and the enthusiasm of the fans. It's just a great atmosphere.
3:21 after the timeout, 4th and 5 for the Bellarmines. Is this the play that will determine whether be a 1 in the Bells' loss column, or can they make this a 1-score game? Ogbogu dropping back. What a catch by Macaulay. It looked like it might have been out of his reach. Those two on the same page when it's counted the most.
That was an incredible catch, and I think just the way Ogbogu fired that ball, even with some heavy pressure on either side of him, saw his receiver, and just amazing play at this point of the game. Huge.
25-yard completion as the clock nears 3 minutes. 1st and 10 for the Bells from the Mitty 17. Ogbogu under pressure, eludes pressure, cutting back, and inside the 10. Well, depending on the spot, might be just outside the 10, 2:45 as timeout on the field, official timeout. I believe maybe a Monarch has some blood, or, a Monarch being asked to exit the field.
That's a break for the
That's
Bells
Collier.
because the quarterback didn't get out of bounds, trying to pick up a couple extra yards, but he probably should have run out of bounds and saved some of the clock. But Bogu's still a nice gain with a lot of pressure, a big blitz coming, and picked up about 7 yards to the 10-yard line. And all of a sudden the Bells are in position to close to within a touchdown with 2:30 left in the game.
2nd and 3, clock running down here, 2:25 remaining. Quick strike, and nearly picked off. That pass low, and you hear the groans coming from all the way across the field as number 35, Logan Dawson, perhaps having a chance at a pick there. Nevertheless, brings up 3rd down.
Yeah, nice defensive play. He was trying to thread the needle on that. Bogu getting the instructions from his coach.
Third and 3 from the 10. 4th quarter, Mitty with a 2-score lead. But we've seen scoring happen in the blink of the eye. Bellarmine can get a touchdown here. Ogbogu going for the corner. Caught. Waiting for a signal. We've got it. Macaulay once again, the senior, with an acrobatic catch for the touchdown.
You just let Macaulay go up and get it, and it was enough to bring the Bells within a touchdown with 2:15 left. The 2 defenders. Macaulay timed the jump. The defenders were not looking for the ball.
Not playing the ball by any means as Bunce sends it through. Bellarmine has pulled within 7, 2:15 remaining in regulation. Mitty leads it 35-28. Thank you, Republic family of companies, for your sponsorship of this broadcast. Appreciate your support of high school athletics here on CreaTV Sports, and a big thanks to Republic family of companies. Alongside David Kiefer, I'm Kirsten Fairchild as the push-ups and the bell getting ready. Monarch mascot in attendance tonight, as well as Bellarmine. No shortage of school spirit on either side of Jaguar Field here tonight.
That's a second touchdown catch to Macaulay, and he's been a big play guy. And Bells will most likely, the 2 timeouts left. Do you onside kick it? I think the Monarchs are expecting that. I think you probably have no choice.
Cole Bunce, the kicker for Bellarmine, back for his senior year. Onside attempt, but penalty markers before the ball is even fielded.
Offsides, it looks like, against the Bells. So I think it was before the play started, so Mitty does not get the opportunity to decline it.
Both teams with 2 timeouts, 2:15 remaining. Bellarmine trailing by 7. As the ball teed up at the Bells 35. Only one return man back for Mitty. It's Kaus at his 15. Fielded by Mitty.
Ball looked like it was loose, but looks like Mitty has gotten possession. Nice. I think it was Cairns there who came up with the ball and did not let it go.
The hands team in. Mitty, 1st and 10 from the Bellarmine 47. Bells have shown, especially this half, that they can get to Sarah. Except for that last series when Sarah decided forward momentum was his best action.
Yeah, well, they'll be keeping the ball on the ground.
He's got Tefano in the backfield with him. Tefano with the carry. Tefano breaking loose for the first down. The big guy, difficult to bring down.
Yeah, and he looks like the guy that's going to be able to chew up yardage. It looks like he might be
I don't know if he's
a little bit
cramping
shaken up.
trying to walk it off.
But yeah, that's the smart thing to do. Just send it up the middle, try to move the sticks, because once you get a couple first downs, Bellarmine, even if they call a couple timeouts, is not going to be able to stop the clock enough to get the ball back.
Inside 2 minutes, as you see the clock ticking down. Offset eye for Mitty. Tefano once again, this time off the right side, and another healthy gain, but short of a first down, and Tefano's feeling walking a little gingerly, and we're going to have a timeout on the field. Bellarmine calls its second timeout, 1:40 remaining. 35-28, Mitty with the ball and the lead.
Yeah, it's a tough position for Bellarmine to call a timeout on 2nd and short with only 2 yards to go, but I guess they feel like they just have no choice. They're banking on stopping Mitty on these next 2 plays, and if Mitty gets a first down, the game is basically over. What a rebound by Mitty, after last week. It's puts them right back in the West Catholic League race. They've shown that they can play with anybody. And, I think the most intriguing part will be what happens to Reardon as the season goes along, because of nobody really knows what they're capable of.
That's an excellent point, as it's 2nd and 2 for Mitty. Sarah met staunchly at the line of scrimmage by Antonio Garcia and company.
That's the final timeout for Bellarmine. So it's going to be 3rd and about 1, and with 1:36 left, the first down will pretty much ensure the victory for Mitty. Even if they don't, they would probably take another play and just try to run the clock off as much as possible.
1:36 remaining. Score from Valley Christian. St. Francis, after 3 quarters, leading the Warriors 21-10. St. Ignatius with a 1-point lead, leading Sacred Heart Cathedral 14-13. And here we are, 3rd and 1. And first down, Mitty.
And that's, as they say, the ball game. Now Mitty can just kneel down and run the clock out.
Tafano. That straight ahead running. The big Matthew Tafano, 6'2", 217 pounds. There's 1:22 remaining.
So assuming that Bellarmine loses this game and St. Francis beats Valley Christian, the only undefeated teams left in league play will be St. Francis at 2-0 and Reardon, which plays tomorrow against Sarah.
I think a lot of people are going to be at that Reardon-Sarah game. Sarah losing by a touchdown to Bellarmine last week.
This is, say Bellarmine runs the table after this. Mitty's in the same position. With 1 loss, this is looking way ahead. But if either one of these teams goes on and wins the Open Division, would this 1 loss prevent them from getting a state bowl berth?
Right. That's why I brought that up earlier, as the Mitty fans have been rewarded tonight, even after giving up touchdown to Bellarmine to start things off, and playing a part in that with 2 big penalties.
What an amazing performance by Mitty, and I think especially their quarterback Samuel Serra. I think his heroics, running the ball, really carrying the team on his back, and then the way that Mitty's defense came through with 2 big turnovers in the second half, I think helped turn the tide into the Monarchs' favor.
Mitty Monarchs getting a win here at Jaguar Field. Final score 35-28 in an entertaining back and forth game. The Monarchs improved to 4-1, 1-1 in league, and it's the Bells' first loss of the season. Identical records for these 2 programs, which know one another so very well. We'll take a short break and return with a CreaTV Sports Postgame show here from San Jose City College.
Since 1851, Bellarmine College Prep has provided an outstanding learning experience in the Jesuit tradition of educating the whole person and developing men for and with others. Bellarmine students balance rigorous academic requirements and a variety of excellent co-curricular activities while providing valuable community service to many local nonprofit agencies. We invite you to learn more about Bellarmine College Prep, including information about open house. Visit online bcp.org.
Back in San Jose for the CreaTV Sports Postgame show. Bellarmine tying it up in the 3rd quarter thanks to the 1-yard run by Fernandez.
Yeah, and that was, they were down by 2 touchdowns, so when the Bells tied it up, it looked like the momentum was on their side, but then an interception by Ryan Sutton of Mitty was one of 2 turnovers that Mitty would, 2 takeaways Mitty would get in the second half, and they both were huge for them. Bellarmine's defense did its job for a while, but again, Mitty had too many opportunities. This was Jacob Bergstrom with a sack.
Yeah, and Bellarmine holding Mitty scoreless in the third, just as it did in the first. But then this halfback option as McKinnon brings it in.
On 4th down, too. That was a big play because that ended up being the go-ahead score.
And then Sarah, tired of being sacked, breaks loose. This is a 51-yard run.
And that essentially was the dagger. But although Bellarmine still wasn't done yet, and it was probably too early to write them off, but a big pass here from Dogbu to Macaulay, a great leaping catch, which set up Bellarmine's 4th touchdown.
And then it was, Macaulay. I mean, when he and Ogbogu were on the same page, boy, were they successful.
Yeah, and there was so that brought the Bells within 35-28, but Mitty was able to run out the clock after that.
And for a team, it's always fun to hand an undefeated team its first loss. But David, this was, when you really looked at it, this was such an evenly played game. I mean, there were so many facets of the game I think head coaches are going to be happy with and unhappy with. But a lot to address in practice this week because the West Catholic Athletic League, no easy weeks in this league.
No, and especially with either team missing one of their key players by injury, so it was hard to kind of predict how the replacements would fare and who would be kind of the hero of the game. And it ended up being Samuel Serra, who really was the difference in this one with a big touchdown run that really sealed the game. And just he was the key offensive factor for Mitty throughout the game with his running ability.
Final score, Mitty 35, Bellarmine 28. Thank you so much for joining us on CreaTV Sports. We'll hope you'll tune in throughout the season as we'll have more high school football and volleyball for you here in the 2015 school year. On behalf of the entire CreaTV Sports crew and my partner tonight, David Kiefer, I'm Kirsten Fairchilds. So long from San Jose, Mitty winning the battle 35-28 over Bellarmine.